The train always lurched at exactly 7:14 a.m. Every morning it was my cue to look up from my phone and see the same gray building with the smiling sun mural. For years, this was my life. A dance of alarms, coffee, and public transit. I had the routine down to a science best seat, best signal, perfect timing, predictable, stable. But one Tuesday, staring at that goofy sun, I realized something terrifying. I was bored. Deeply, existentially bored. This wasn't just a case of the Mondays. It was a quiet dread that had been building for years. I had a good job, the kind my parents bragged about. Title, benefits, security. But the work, just moving pixels around. The passion was gone. I looked around the train. Everyone lost in their own world. Lawyer, artist, student, all on the same train, but our destinations felt worlds apart. I envied their purpose. Mine was just the next station, the next meeting, the next deadline. That morning routine felt less like comfort and more like a cage. The realization didn't hit like lightning. It was a slow leak, a nagging thought growing louder each day. Is this it? I'd followed the blueprint: college, degree, job, ladder. But I never asked if I wanted to be on this ladder. Now, standing on a middle rung, I realized I was afraid of heights, and even more afraid of letting go. The train kept moving, but I felt stuck. I wondered if anyone else felt the same. Maybe we were all just pretending. Maybe we were all waiting for something to change. That morning, I decided to stop waiting. I didn't know what came next, but I knew I couldn't keep riding the same train forever. Sometimes the scariest thing isn't jumping off, it's realizing you've been standing still. The sun on the mural kept smiling, as if daring me to do something different. And for the first time in years, I thought, maybe I will. Maybe today is the day I start. Day is. So you have the big realization. You want out. What's next? Panic. The idea of a career pivot sounds cool on LinkedIn, but in reality it feels like standing at the edge of a cliff with no parachute. For years, my career was my identity, my security, my plan. Now, I was thinking about throwing it all away for a hunch. The fear isn't just about money, it's about starting over, admitting the path you spent years on might be wrong. The anxiety comes in waves, late-night worst-case scenarios, daytime meetings where you're smiling on the outside and panicking inside. One side screams, "Get out." The other whispers, "Don't be an idiot." This is the part nobody posts on Instagram. They show the after smiling, successful, living my best life. But the before and during, messy, lonely, and full of fear. The pivot isn't a clean break, it's a personal earthquake. You question everything, your choices, your worth, your future. But beneath the panic, there's a spark, the hope that something better is possible. That hope is what keeps you moving even when you're terrified, and sometimes that's enough. The real villain? The sunk cost fallacy. It's why you finish a bad movie, eat a meal you don't like, or stay in a job that drains you. You've invested years, effort, and sacrifices. Walking away feels like setting it all on fire. My career was a monument I built brick by brick. The idea of leaving it behind was painful. Friends and family say, "But you're so good at this." They see stability, not the quiet desperation. The sunk cost fallacy whispers that your past investment dictates your future. But it's a lie. The time is already spent. The effort is already given. The only choice is what you do next. Do you keep investing in something that doesn't fulfill you, or cut your losses and try something new? It's a tough calculation, but your past doesn't have to define your future. Letting go isn't failure. It's making room for something better. The hardest part is admitting you've changed, and that's okay. So, you've decided to jump. Now comes the hard part, learning new things, as an adult. Remember when your brain was a sponge? Now it's a tired rock? The thought of being a beginner again is humbling and terrifying. Suddenly, you're looking at online courses, boot camps, certifications, surrounded by acronyms and concepts that feel alien. Imposter syndrome hits before you even start. You trade expertise for awkwardness, confidence for rookie mistakes. It's a massive ego check. Learning as an adult is hard. You have bills, maybe a family, and a life that doesn't pause. You cram studying between work, errands, and sleep. The glamour of lifelong learning fades fast when you're on your fourth cup of coffee at midnight. But every new skill is a step forward. You're not just learning. You're proving to yourself you can adapt. It's uncomfortable, but growth always is. The fear of being a beginner is real, but so is the excitement, and that's what makes it worth it. One of the hardest parts of a career pivot is the identity crisis. For years you had a simple answer: I'm a lawyer, I'm a designer, I'm a manager. When you pivot, you lose that label. You become in between. At parties, the question comes, what do you do? Suddenly, you're fumbling for words. People want a neat box. You hand them a pile of unassembled IKEA furniture. The loss of a clear professional identity is disorienting. Your job title was validation, a signal of competence and stability. Without it, you feel adrift. Who are you now? It forces you to separate your identity from your job, a breakup with your professional self. The in-between phase is uncomfortable, lacking a clear narrative. You're a walking cliffhanger, learning to be okay with uncertainty. You have to find self-worth outside a job title. It's tough, but necessary. You're not just changing careers, you're redefining who you are. I used to think pivoting meant starting from scratch, dropping my past at the door. But it's not about erasing your history, it's about remixing it. Your old career isn't a liability, it's your secret weapon. You're not starting from zero, you're starting from experience. A chef who learns to code isn't just a coder, they're a coder who understands restaurants. A lawyer in marketing brings rigor and detail others might miss. This combination is your superpower. Soft skills, communication, project management, leadership are gold in any industry. When you stack new skills on top of your foundation, you become uniquely valuable. You're not a beginner, you're a seasoned pro with a new tool. Don't discount your past. It's your foundation. Every challenge taught you something. The in-between isn't a void, it's a creative studio. You're not just pivoting, you're evolving. You're building a career that's 100% you. We wait for the perfect moment to make a change. But here's the truth, it doesn't exist. There's never a risk-free, anxiety-free time to upend your life. Waiting for the perfect time is just fear in disguise. Change is always scary and disruptive. There's always a reason to wait. But while you wait, life keeps moving. The dissatisfaction only gets louder. The decision to pivot isn't about finding the perfect moment. It's about realizing staying put hurts more than jumping. The act of choosing is a step forward. Even if you don't know what's next, you've reclaimed your agency. You're no longer a passive passenger. That single moment of courage is the most important step. If you're stuck, know you're not alone. Starting over isn't falling behind, it's choosing a different race. Growth isn't linear. Sometimes it takes a sharp, liberating turn. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create it. The new path begins the second you decide to take the first step.